Welcome to the NC Spin After Spin. Additional comments from our panelists just available on our website. We want to ask, what do you wish you'd have said on last week's show, but you didn't get a chance to? Brad Kroon, start with you.
Well, I think some of the local politics really becoming interesting right now. In Raleigh, it's going to be the debate that the city has with an ongoing fight with the state Senate over the Dorothea Dix property. And then there's an interesting mayor's race down in Charlotte developing. Dan Clodfelter left the state Senate, became the interim mayor, apparently told the city council that he wasn't going to run, then announced that he was going to run. And so you've got a really interesting fight. The former chairman of the county commissioner down there, Jennifer Roberts, is running, and a couple members of the city council. So that's going to be a race that we really need to pay attention to.
Chris, what do you wish you'd have said?
Well, we talked about all the Medicaid, the battles over Medicaid reform. There was an audit that actually came out this week from the state auditor's office, hasn't gotten much attention, that identifies serious problems in the Department of Health and Human Services, some of which concern NC TRAC, some of which concern other aspects of the Medicaid program. And these are things that can't be blamed on Governor Perdue. These are things that have happened in the last couple of years. I don't know how it'll affect the reform debate, but I think it will increase lack of confidence in the current leadership at the Department of Health and Human Services.
John, what do you wish you'd have said?
Well, we were talking about the Religious Freedom Restoration Act dispute in North Carolina and Indiana and Arkansas and lots of other places. And a lot of people have misunderstood what this is about. It's not about whether a particular act is going to be permissible under law or not, because that's not usually what these laws have to do with. What they do is they change the legal standard for arguing in court. So there have been states where people have been accused of discriminating, for example, against gays and lesbians on marriage-related services, or even other kinds of things, use of peyote because it's part of your religion, but it's against the law. And most of the time, these claims fail even under these statutes, because the government just has to prove that it has a compelling state interest, and there's no other way that they could address their concern other than infringing upon people's freedoms. So that's really what the dispute is about. It's got very convoluted and very confused. And as some other panelists said, it's largely about symbolism and the message that it sends rather than the actual practical effect of these laws.
Interesting. Becky, what do you wish you'd have said?
Well, circling back to the Medicaid discussion and Medicaid reform, and that's certainly on everybody's mind, and it's been very complicated, and there's a lot of power plays and a lot of different people involved in it. But what it really comes down to is the cost of health care and budget predictability and keeping those costs under control. And there's a couple other things that are going on being considered at the General Assembly along those same lines. One is Medicaid expansion. Now, the Senate and the House as well and the governor, I don't think that will happen this session, but it's still part of that discussion, which I believe will greatly increase the cost of health care and particularly Medicaid. And then another one that I think is going to get some attention this session is Certificate of Need repeal or reform. We're seeing that, we believe, and a lot of states don't have the Certificate of Need requirements.
Or had them and
have done away with them and are doing just fine. And actually, in many cases, their health care costs are considerably lower than they are in North Carolina. So I think aside from the Medicaid reform discussion of how are we going to contain costs, how are we going to provide budget predictability for the general fund, there's other issues too that play into this that we'll be seeing throughout this session.
Well, thanks for watching the After Spin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.